What's up, guys? I just finished 10th in the Bochum Regionals, so I thought I'd go over my regionals, go over the games I played, go over the deck I played, just give an explanation of the whole deck. I talked a lot about this on my Twitch stream, but I haven't really done a full in-depth YouTube video on this deck, and I think now I've got a good result with it. I think it's a good time to talk about it. So I played this Zekrom Lost Zone deck to Bochum, also out of like 762 players, is what it says on Limitless. How many players in the event? Yeah. So. Pretty good result. Happy with 10th. Happy to bounce back a little bit after OCIC. Missing CP was pretty annoying. It was with this deck as well, so at least proved this deck can do something. So yeah, Zekrom deck. First we're just gonna talk about what the plan is against Lugia, because I think it's pretty interesting. And like what this deck, what it does against Lugia. So we got the Zekroms, and that's our entire Lugia plan basically. But the way it plays against Lugia is actually so different from other Lost Zone decks. So the main exploit that this takes over Lugia is the fact that their board space is really difficult to manage, especially in this matchup. The things that they want on board, they need to get Luminion for their supporters because they need Birdkeeper, they need Marnies, and they need bosses on the turns they need them. So they have to get Luminion. They have to use Luminion a lot. They have to use Stoutland, obviously they have to use that early enough so that their Archeops don't die before they can Stoutland. Before they can Stoutland, so they actually get the effect of the Stoutland, which they need. They want Dunsparce on board, they want Manaphy on board, they need their Lugia on board, they want double Archeops, obviously, well, they need double Archeops. And random stuff gets onto the bench. They start Raikou, they start Yveltal, they start Pumpkaboo. It's locked on the board forever. I'm never going to kill anything like that because I am just absolutely trying to exploit their board space. Because if I can get into a position where I'm just locking them with Zekrom for multiple turns, lock them with Sableye. If they have Dunsparce on board, I'll just lock their Lugia active for 2 turns and then Sableye around it. And they don't have board space to Luminion for Birdkeeper, they will immediately lose. And even if they do have board space to Luminion for Birdkeeper, if you've already got that paralysis in on the active, then when they go into Stoutland, you can kill with Zekrom, right? It's 2 turns. Your Zekrom goes down to 10 health, nobody cares. It dies, it's fine. You can also, the great thing about attacking with Zekrom into Stoutland is that it ends on 80 HP, so you get 40 extra damage with either your Sableye, or you get 90 extra damage with your Greninja if you can use the turn after. And then if you switch out of your Zekrom, then you just have a Zekrom on board, which they have to then kill, because the Zekrom, they can just kill anything. So, so that's pretty cool, and the way that we try and board lock them is to block their Aqua turn and block their early Stoutland. Because if they can't early Stoutland, they're just going to end up attacking with Lugia, and that's not great. So to block that, on the second turn of the game, or the first turn, if you're going second, second turn going first, you put any Pokemon with 130 HP. In this deck, we have 3 of them. There's 2 Zekrom, and there's a Greninja. You shove any of those Pokemon in the active, they can't Aqua Return to knock it out, so they're not going to be able to Aqua Return. They have to attack with Lugia, right? If they attack with Aqua Return, you're just going to net, you get a free turn, you can Sableye, you can just do literally whatever you want. At that turn, at that point, you're ahead in prize race. Not even Sableye, you can just use Radiant Greninja. Radiant Greninja is a great attacker. Sometimes you end up using Radiant Greninja over Zekrom anyways. It's kind of just good if they've already board locked. You Radiant Greninja, they're Archeops, you Sableye them, they can't Stoutland, you're just going to win prize trade incredibly easily. And so, yeah, and if you get ahead far enough, then you can actually use Dragonite on their Stoutland to kill it without losing the prize race immediately. Because the thing is, if they go Stoutland on turn 2 and you Dragonite it, you'll lose. You'll lose every single game because they take 2 prizes, you kill, you take 2, and they take 2 back, and they're just winning a prize race that they're always going to win because they have 1 prize options. So you have to sort of play a slow game. You have to keep stuff on board. We have Zigzagoon in the deck to kill stuff. So a lot of the time I would go, okay, Zekrom your Lugia for 260, maybe their Birdkeeper into their Luminion, and then I'll go Sableye, put 10 there, put like 50 on their Dunsparce. Did this against Julius. Well, this was an exact play I did. 10 to the Lugia, 50 to the Dunsparce, 60 to the Archeops, and then I could knock out the Archeops, put damage on a Raikou later, as well as and then just knock it all out with Sableye in 1 turn to take 4 prizes. Did this against Julius. It was a pretty good strategy. And like it means they can't Stoutland for a long time. It means they can't it's so difficult for them to do anything under the circumstances this deck puts them under. So that's just me ranting about the Lugia matchup. Um, but it's one of the coolest matchups I've literally ever played in my entire life. I played 4 memorable games against it in the tournament. I won 3 out of 4. One was against Julius Brunfelt, the really good Finnish player. We had a pretty cool set that ended up tying in round 8. He got pretty fortunate to draw some raw bird keepers while he was board locked. But that happens to get a tie out of that, but can't complain about that. That was in round 8 to go to 5-1-2, so I need to win my last round, and I played that against Lugia, and that was a crazy good set where board lock him for the whole game, and then it's just so cool. Like playing that matchup just feels so cool, especially when your opponent's playing well and when you're playing well, because I feel like I was playing really well in those rounds. So that definitely helped me. So basically what ended up happening in this tournament is I played quite a few Mews. I played 4 Mews in the tournament. I played against 3 Lugias. 1 and 2 was Robin. I ended up losing to Robin in round 2, who was playing Flying Pikachu Lugia. I was playing so bad. It was unreal. I tried to save live when there was 9 in my Lost Zone. I promoted my save live. I checked my Lost Zone. There was only 9, and I was like, damn, man. And so yeah, there was that was a pretty tough set to lose in the second round, but didn't lose another set for the rest of the tournament. Ended up going 9-0-4 outside of that round. A lot of ties, which was pretty unfortunate. A lot of ties against Mew, which should be a really good matchup for this deck. As you can notice, we have the Temple and the Training Court, so we have 2 stadium bumps for them. So even if we use the first one early, like you use Training Court for Tempo, or try and bump their City to get our Greninja to stick around, or bump their path just to get Greninja going. We still have a second stadium that we can use to bump their path to get our Drapion out. So that's something we can do against Mew. So I should have really been beating a lot of them, but I did end up with 3 of my 4 ties against Mew, which was pretty unfortunate, to be honest. Did end up beating 1 of them, but yeah, should be winning those, to be honest. More or less. Wasn't playing great against Mew. I don't think I practiced the Mew matchup enough, which was a bit of an issue for me. Yeah, and it's those small margins that get you from 10th place to top 8, right? And wasn't on the best side of it this time. In day 2, which is probably the important rounds. In day 1, I played against a few Lugias, had some cool sets, but the rest of it was relatively easy. Played like some Lost Box Mirrors against some nice people, but generally, I know the Lost Box Mirror a lot better than most other people do. As also, I'm talking about my stream match now. I played against Pyota on the Mirror, and it seemed like I did know the matchup a little bit, quite a bit better than he did. So in the second game, he probably had the advantage, based on the fact that he was playing Roxanne and he had so much pressure. But he wasn't able to properly convert that pressure into me getting messenger notification. Sorry guys. Yeah, I wasn't able to convert that pressure into anything useful because he just didn't know where to put his damage to be to like perfectly put his damage to actually put pressure on me. I had a lot of good plans that I'm happy with how I played in a lot of it, but not in all of it. I did definitely make some mistakes. I put some damage on Too Comfy when it was supposed to be on Manaphy and Bench Comfy, to make it a little bit more difficult for him to net. Don't know if it would have mattered, but could have played better. Game 1, start Dragonite, and then I basically just don't hit a way to attack with Cram, and I'm like, well, okay, well, if I don't have a way to attack with... I did have a way to attack with Rope, but I couldn't attack otherwise, so I was like, well, he's already up a prize. I'm going to go down 2 prizes now. I mean, I could shove my Dragonite, but it's going to die later to Sableye. I can't really do anything here, so I'm just going to go next game. Hopefully I can finish 2 games. We did end up having a gentleman's agreement in the 3rd game because the winner got top 16 and the loser got top 32 anyways. So a tie didn't really achieve anything for us. I mean, we would both get top 32. So yeah, that's what ended up happening on stream in my round. But tournament was pretty good. Bochum was... It was pretty sketchy. We were very close to each other. Like in the tables. In day 2, we had a little bit more space, but even then, the tables were like too big, so I had to like reach over to cut my opponent's deck and like look. I had to like ask them for their discard pile, which like obviously, it's good to ask anyways. But like at some points when you're trying to go fast, having to like ask them to give you their discard pile during their turn is a bit annoying. But not a huge deal. Also, with the list, the one really interesting tech I think is the 3rd Ordinary Rod. Well, that's not a tech. 3rd Ordinary Rod. I ended up finding in the Lugia matchup that I was running out of save lives in the late game because what happens in the early game is you have so much. Okay, I'm ranting about Lugia again, but you end up having so many save lives that um you end up having to hit like Raihan and Mirage Gate. You have to take all the pieces to Zekrom in your hand. So you end up just having to throw away Sableyes and sometimes even a Psychic Energy, just based on how the game goes. So I need more rods so I can continue to loop Sableye in the late game because sometimes you need to do it 3 or 4 times, which is very difficult without a high rod count. So yeah, I think that'll be it for the video. Short one here, just talking about my tournament report. I'll definitely have some games of this deck up later this week. I have some pretty cool games from last week. I talked more in depth about this deck last week on my Twitch stream, and I will be talking about more in depth soon on my Twitch stream. Definitely on days this week. Stream every day, 5 to 10 Netherlands times. Yeah, Central European. So, it's somewhere in that range. I'll be live at some point in that range, maybe not that whole time. Um, and try and do that every weekday. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.